说中文。
Chinese pot, Chinese pot, Chinese pot. That's the way to learn Chinese. Chinese pot, Chinese pot, Chinese pot. That's the way to learn Chinese.
Hello, newbies. This is Chinese Pod. I'm Ken Carroll.
Hello, I'm Jenny.
Now, Jenny, there's one question that Chinese people always ask visitors. Every visitor that comes to China, this Chinese person, people will ask one question.
你会说中文吗?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the questions they might ask.
But there's another one that they like to ask.
你会用筷子吗?
That's right.
你会用筷子吗?
So let's listen to that one more time because this is going to appear in the dialogue. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to guess, right? So let's listen to it one more time.
你会用筷子吗?
Now, I'll give you a clue, all right? It's got something to do with eating,
Yeah.
right? It's eating implements.
And I think the title of the lesson gives it away. But anyway, pay attention to that sentence.
It does. Okay, so this is the question that you always get asked. I don't know why, but it happens. Maybe it's just small talk and so on. So we're going to listen to a very simple, very nice dialogue. We'll listen 3 times. We'll come back. We'll take it apart for you. And we'll throw in a little bit of culture too while we're at it.
Dialogue, first time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
Second time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
Third time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
Aha, there you have it. Now, you were prepared for your first conversation in China when you can do this.
Yes.
Right? This is definitely going to happen. Somebody's going to ask you.
对, I agree.
All right, let's translate.
你会用筷子吗?
Can you use chopsticks?
你会用筷子吗?
Can you use chopsticks?
你会用筷子吗? 当然会，你看。
Of course I can. Have a look.
当然会，你看。
Of course. Look.
当然会，你看。哇，真厉害。
Wow, that's awesome.
哇，真厉害。
Wow, that's great.
哇，真厉害。
Yeah.
And you always get a compliment.
Yeah, if you march around just showing how good you are
Your
with
chopstick
chopsticks,
skills.
people will be like impressed.
对
Now, again, we can look at that in a moment, why that is the case, but there's still lots of very juicy, as pun intended, language here.
是的。
So let's take a look at it.
你会用筷子吗？你会用筷子吗？
Now, the first element to look at, I would say, Jenny, is the word for chopsticks.
筷子，筷子。
筷子.
对
And let's leave it at that. 筷子 means chopsticks. Good enough.
Yes, but we can look at the pronunciation.
Okay.
It's fourth and neutral tone.
Yes.
筷子，筷子。
Good. Now, we had a question here. So at the end of the sentence, you've got the particle.
妈，妈。
Now, in Chinese, when you hear this particle at the end of a sentence, you know it's a question.
Yes.
So now you've got the word chopsticks and the particle, and that sounds like
筷子吗?
good. Now you can sort of piece things
It's
together
a
here.
question about chopsticks.
And they're definitely asking you the question.
你会用筷子吗?
Now, there's 2 very interesting verbs here.
对。
会 and 用. Could you tell us about those 2?
会 means to be able to,
Yes.
and 用 means to use.
To use.
Yeah.
会用 to be able to use something. There you go. This is all very logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the pronoun for you is
你
good. Now, so this sentence works fairly directly. You can say, literally is you are able to use chopsticks? Question mark.
Yes.
That's how it works. That's the syntax. Could we hear it, please, Jenny?
你会用筷子吗? 你会用筷子吗?
There you go. The question now. This is a fairly plucky response from, I mean, this person most likely is, a visitor to China or, someone who's learning some Chinese. And to be honest, in the dialogues, we always
use native speakers.
We use native speakers, but because we want to get the pronunciation right. But imagine that this is a visitor. I see a plucky visitor who's been here for like a couple of weeks or something, and he's like, she's got some of the lingo down, right? And her answer is like, yeah, sure. It's like,
当然会，当然会。
now, 当然 meaning
Of course.
of course.
Yeah. 当然，当然。
当然. Now, 当然, as with the English, of course, depending on the context, it could sound cocky
Yes.
and rude even.
Yeah.
But here it's clearly she's having some fun. So 当然, and then she uses that verb again.
会。
会, and that's the verb to be able to, the one that appeared in the first sentence.
Yes.
And that means, of course, I'm able to. And that you could use that sentence in 100 contexts, right?
Yeah.
当然会. You could even answer a question if somebody asks you, may I do something? You could say,
当然会。
yeah, you may. And of course you can. Okay, now, and then take a look. Take a look at this.
你看，你看，
你看. So 你 as in you.
Yeah.
And the verb to look.
看，看。
So here you are. So she's probably going to show off what she can do with chopsticks. 你看, look what I can do here. Well, I would imagine that if it was a Western culture, the next sentence might sound slightly patronizing, but don't take it that way. It's a genuine sign of encouragement
Yes.
here. You can use the damn chopsticks, people will say.
哇，真厉害，
真厉害.
真厉害。
There isn't the cynicism here. Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
People are not cynical here when they say, "Whoa, you're great because you can use chopsticks."
Yes.
It's meant as a form of encouragement. Now, but let's look at the elements here. So, wow, that's your common or garden
Yeah.
surprise,
Wow.
amazement. And now the next expression is excellent.
真厉害，真厉害。
真厉害. Now, 真 meaning
Really?
really, very much so.
对。
Now, and then the expression we've translated it as awesome or excellent or great is,
厉害，厉害。
and the tones on 厉害 are
Fourth and neutral.
fourth and neutral. So tell us a little bit more about 厉害.
Well, it means all of the things you just said.
Yeah.
It's a compliment.
Yes.
And even amazement at
Yes.
something outstanding,
Yes.
excellent.
Yes, yeah. And it's commonly used. I mean, you don't have to reserve it for like, as clear from this
对。
context. You can use it all the time. People would use it a lot with kids too, right? If a kid does something, wow, he's playing football or she's doing something really well, you'd say, wow.
真厉害。
Wow, you're 厉害, you're great, you're doing
厉害,
really well.
yeah.
It's a great way to encourage kids, actually.
Yes.
Wow, 厉害.
Do you use that a lot?
Yeah, I do. I did. Maybe if I'm talking to smaller kids, particular,
yes.
they're so proud of themselves. Sometimes they can do something. You tell them, "Wow, 真厉害." And of course, they like it. There you go.
Chinese pot parenting guide.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to that 3 more times.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Chinese Pod Trivia. Our first question is, how long will it take you to become an intermediate Chinese speaker using the Chinese Pod app? Is it A, the rest of your life? B, you should already be an intermediate speaker? C, 3 months? Or D, Chinese Pod has an app?
You should already be in.
Ooh, that is incorrect. The correct answer is C, 3 months. That's right. Head over to ChinesePod.com now to register for your access to over 4,000 lessons. Get the Chinese Pod app now on Google Play or the App Store.
Dialogue. First time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
Second time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
third time.
你会用筷子吗？
当然会，你看，
哇，真厉害！
Now, we have the tools, as it were, with which to deal with a question that you always get asked. You get asked certainly when people, it's obvious that you're in the early phases of your
Yes.
visit to China. I mean, if you've been here for a couple of years, they probably won't.
Yeah.
Right? Why do they ask? And why do they think it's 厉害?
Well, because we know it's not part of your culture.
Yep.
Using chopsticks
Yep.
is not something you grow up with. And it's a slightly difficult technique to
Yes.
grasp. So if you can use chopsticks quite well, then people do have quite a lot of respect for that. And also, we see it as respecting our culture.
Yes. And that's nice.
对。
Yeah, I think the 筷子, the chopstick, there's a right way to use them and then there's another way to use them.
Oh, I still remember the days when I was really young and my parents were teaching me how to use chopsticks properly.
Yeah.
Where you actually hold the
Yeah.
chopsticks.
So there's an etiquette, just as there is with a knife and fork etiquette,
Yeah.
there's a kind of an etiquette with how you should hold your 筷子.
对。
And if you can do that, then you really are 厉害.
厉害.
Right. So I don't do that properly. I mean, I just got figured out how to use them myself. Whereas my daughter was trained to hold them properly in the right way. So I guess that's what it is. If you can do that the proper way. But I think to your point, I think it's also correct that it's very much, it's more a form of encouragement to say, you know, somebody who comes here and now you're learning the language and you're learning the culture. That's nice and people appreciate it.
对。
But they always ask, and I just think it's just the ultimate in small talk. You don't know someone,
是。
it's an easy way to start the conversation.
And it always works.
But again, for foreigners, you know, Westerners, sometimes we like, why are they asking me this? You know, why treating me like a child or something? No, it's small talk. Don't take it seriously.
Yes.
It's a way to sort of break the ice. And let's face it, you're probably eating. They're inviting you to eat.
How well said, Ken.
Oh, thanks. Lots of culture in there as ever. It's amazing how much culture we can get out of a
Even
newbie
in-
dialogue.
yeah,
It's all
that's
over the
true.
place. And I hope that's one of the points about the language that we bring here in Chinese Pod. We can show you that even basic sentences have enormous potential for depth and color and nuance and
对。
stuff like that.
If
So
you want more, go to ChinesePod.com.
that is correct. And we'll be back again tomorrow with another lesson. But right now, time to say
再见.
再见.
As usual, ChinesePod provides an extensive selection of learning materials for this lesson on its website, www.chinesepod.com. You can access this lesson directly with the lesson number
1126.
So just go to
www.chinesepod.com/1126.
and you will find a transcript, vocabulary, and much more. The link again, www.chinesepod.com/1126.
1126.